So welcome to my YouTube channel, that's what we call The Good Life. Today I'm going to be talking about the jobs you can be doing in March on your allotment. It's a really exciting time of year because there's lots of things you can be doing and lots of things you can be preparing and planning to do for the coming year. So it's a really great time to, not just put things out and start working on your allotment, but actually putting some decent planning in of what you're going to sow and grow. So first of all, I'm going to go through the things that I've got at home that I'm kind of like looking after, ready to go on my plot, and then we're going to head up to the allotment and I'll show you what's going on up there as well. Now, if you've not already subscribed to my channel, you know what I'm going to say, if you could please do so, because otherwise you won't get all those helpful hints and tips, will you? And ask me any questions that you want to ask. So first of all, I've got my potatoes chitting ready to go out. So obviously I'm filming this video at the end of February, and so I've started chitting. As you can see, they're just starting to chit, as you can see. Little stumpy chits, just like that is what you're after, not big long straggly ones. And that's why I have them in my conservatory, where it's light. You don't want them somewhere dark, otherwise you'll get very long little sprouts coming off of it, and it's not what you want. And all of them, you can see, are actually just starting to sprout, so they're all doing exactly what they want to do there. So these will stay in my conservatory, gradually chitting until we get to about mid-March. At mid-March I will start putting my potatoes out. I'm in Kent, so it's warm enough for us to be able to do that, so just think where you live in the country or the world for that matter, whether it's the right time to put them out. But for me, I start putting them out at the end of mid to the end of March, and I start putting the earlies out first, my second earlies, and then I'll be putting my main crop out after that. And there's no real rhyme or reason to it in the fact that I don't have a specific week for when I do it, but to put them all in one go would be really tiring. So I'll first put the earlies out, and then the second earlies, and then the main crop, so that it just generally staggers it for myself. Obviously making sure that you put your new potatoes, I've got some Charlotte potatoes there, out first. Another job you can be doing, if you've not already sourced your onion sets, is sourcing your onion sets. Now as soon as you hit March, you can be putting those out, which I will be doing very, very soon. So they will be going out. So I've got two types here. I have literally just called red onion, and this one is a type that I've never grown before called Turbo. So I usually grow the same ones every single year, and I saw these ones as something different. I thought I'd give them a go. So the other things I'm doing at home is gradually starting off all my seeds. Although I've got them out in the conservatory at the moment, I'm actually keeping them in a different room, but I brought them out here to show you where I am and what I'm growing. So the things I've started off already are my leeks, which are in that big tub there. I've started off some kale, so I've just started off there, and I've also started off some chard just over there. I've also got some tomatoes started off, Tomtastic I've started there, and also I've got some Hungarian hot wax chilies there. As you can see, they've just started sprouting through. I won't be potting any of those on yet because they've not grown enough. They've not grown any other leaves. So although while they look like that, they'll be staying where they are. I'll wait for them to mature a little bit more until I do that. The leeks will stay in there until they get sown straight into the ground at about June. So I won't even pot those on. That's why I do them in a deep pot like that. So they're there. I've also started a few other things off already. I've started off some marigolds, some French marigolds, hopefully try and keep the pests away from some of my crops, so a bit of companion planting there. I've got some tomato Roma, but they've not germinated, so hopefully they'll germinate soon, and also some statice, which is another type of cut flower, which is quite pretty. Although I can't eat those, they are very pretty to have on the allotment. One thing I did want to say is when things germinate, obviously I use a propagator because I find it really, really effective, and people wonder when they should take them out of the propagator. Literally as soon as they've started to sprout through. If you can see there, when they've just started to sprout through, you pull them out. And even if only a few of them have started to sprout through, I just whip them out, because what will happen is if you leave them in there too long and you wait for every single one to sprout, for them to get to a certain height, they'll get too leggy. This time of the year, it's incredibly, they often look a little bit leggy when they first start off, and it's nothing to worry about, unless they're really, really leggy. And even then, quite often, I've had the odd leggy seedling and they've still survived. So both of these, I took the lid off a couple of days ago and I left it plugged in with the heat underneath, which is perfectly okay to do, just to make sure some of the others are germinated. And these two I now need to put into separate trays and keep them on a sunny windowsill. This one I'll obviously have to put the lid back on and keep it heated until it starts to sprout through. But it is really important as soon as they start to sprout through. And these ones, the first lot of seeds I started off, it felt like longer than a week to germinate. In fact, I wondered if they were actually going to germinate, especially the chilies. These ones, it felt like they'd only been germinating a couple of days and they'd sprouted really, really quickly. So when you do start any seeds off and you put them in a propagator, do really keep an eye on them, because some will germinate ridiculously quickly and some will take a lot longer. But the important thing is, as soon as they've started to germinate, you either take the lid off to stop, otherwise they'll get leggy, or stick them straight into a tray. I mean, ultimately they'll have to go into a tray anyway, but if you haven't got time to sort a tray out, sometimes I just lift the lid off, so at least I know if I forget to get a tray, they're not going to get really leggy, because you can look at them 1 minute and they're just sprouting through, and the next minute they'll be really, really leggy, and then it's a little bit too late, and then you've got more of a fight on your hands to keep them healthy. So that's my little update from home, and now we're going to head up to the allotment. So we're now up in the allotment. It's much warmer than it has been because I've only got my jacket on, so it's really nice to be able to come up here and not be completely layered up. First of all, one of the things you can be doing on your allotment, if you've not already done so, is you could be forcing your rhubarb on if you wanted to. Here in the south, as you can see, mine's already coming on really, really well already. So unless we get a really, really cold snap, that'll be fine. And even if we did get a bit of frost, even if it died off, it would still come back again because it's so well established. But if you wanted to force a bit, so you were guaranteed some rhubarb, even if the weather got a little bit cold, you could force it and cover it if you wanted to. You can get special forcers, or some people just upturn like a small iron bath or something to put over it to force it on. So the rhubarb's doing really well. So if I'm honest, if it stays like this, it won't be very long and I'll be able to have some rhubarb. Typically I do often get some around Easter time, and sometimes a little bit earlier. So I visited a friend in Wales who, his takes a really long time and he has to force his, but mine normally comes on quite quickly and I get very, very early rhubarb indeed. So as we move down, a lot of the jobs are really preparing the ground for what you're going to be putting in. I've already put some cardboard round and put some manure around my black currants and my gooseberries. Like I said last year, that worked really well at keeping the weeds down and also getting a really good crop because it feeds them really well. So I've done the same again this year. I still need to do that a little bit in the middle, which I've not got round to yet. So even though I can't get everything done, I just get the important stuff done, and if I have time to do the other bits, then it's an added bonus. I'm going to get the rest of these leeks up today, because in the next few weeks I'm going to be putting my potatoes in this section here. So these leeks need to come up ready for my potatoes. So apart from anything else, your leeks need to be coming up at the latest March. So if you've not got all your leeks out, then you need to be doing what I'm doing and getting the last few out, because they can actually go to seed. And not just that, they're getting in the way of other things as well. You know, you're going to be wanting to put your other crops in. So it's not just a case of them going to seed and ruining it. It's also a case of the fact that you need to be getting in, got a little tiny one there, you need to be getting in the next crop really. And these have done all they're going to do, then all honesty not really going to get much bigger, so I might as well get them out of the ground and start eating them. And if I'm honest, a couple of rows of leeks like that won't last us very long in our household, so I'll finish digging those later, but I will be getting the rest of those up today. So the jobs you will be doing is mainly a lot of digging over and weeding and getting the ground ready for when you do start planting, because you will starting to plant stuff out in stages from March. Like I said, my potatoes and my onions will be going in March, guaranteed, or early April at the very latest if I don't get all the potatoes in time. So something else you can be doing is, if you've still got any brassicas, you can be feeding them to try and get them to heart up and to finish. My kale, I will be getting that out because it won't be long and it will start to go to seed. It's not going to seed at the moment, but I promise you, as soon as it starts to warm up, it will go to seed. So I will be getting these out before the potatoes go in. And because apart from anything else, I need the space for the potatoes, and they will go to seed anyway, so there's no benefit leaving them in for any longer anyway, because they're not going to give me that much more anyway. What I pull off, I'll unlikely get much more growing in its place anyway, and what does grow will go to seed in any event. So something else you can be doing, if you've got space for it, is you could be putting some bare root fruit out. Now it really is your last opportunity to be putting out bare root fruit bushes and trees, but you can do that now. If you've got any strawberry runners, you could be planting those, or if you indeed wanted to get some strawberry plants to put out, that's something you can be doing. And also asparagus crowns, if you wanted to put those out, and globe artichokes as well, that's something you could be putting out now as well. I've already got garlic out, and so I'm not going to be putting any more garlic out because I've been doing overwintering garlic. But if you wanted to put some garlic out now, and you wanted to put some shallots out in March, that would also be another good thing to put out as well. And there's lots of seeds you can be starting off as well. Now obviously if you follow my channel already, you would have already seen the video that I did on what you can sow in March, but if you've not watched it already, or you just want a refresher, we put a link there for you so that you can watch that video, so you know what you can be sowing now. I'd also love to know what you're doing, what you're excited about. I mean, this time of year is an amazingly exciting time. You know, the allotment goes from being completely bare virtually, thinking I'm never going to fill it up, to in a few weeks or months time it being completely rammed, and then wishing that you had more space. As you can hear, the birds are chirping away, they're excited too. But yeah, let us know what you're doing. If you've got any questions or queries, then as always, please do ask us, because we'll do our best to answer and help you in any way we can.